It is day 9 of my mental health check-in, and I missed a few days. I have still been putting in the work, documenting everything, because ultimately the goal is for me to see what my triggers are, the things that are contributing to my anxiety, my depression, and I just needed a couple of days to really tap into some things, and I made a lot of discoveries. Like, a lot of things transpired. And sometimes you have to do that. You have to sit in silence. You have to really go deep into thoughts. And I took the time to do that, to reflect, to just sit with a lot of things, because I pretty much gave myself such a short window. By December 31st, I wanted to be able to have clarity. So with clarity, it means I need to actually talk to God about some things. I need to talk to myself about some things. And I need to really understand the contributing factors so that I can have a better 2023, a better life, a better everything. And I've been doing some work. And I think I'm going to share those things. I feel like it could be helpful to others to understand that we all have our daily struggles, and with somebody who deals with mental imbalances, how everyday life that doesn't necessarily involve me still impacts me, still impacts the way that I think, the way that I feel, the way that I operate. Some things are direct, some things are indirect. Within the last couple of days, I've been thinking about, I'm very big on how did I get here? Like, how did Nicole get to this space right now where I feel such high anxiety about things and I feel so down about others? And that took me back to June. One client did a fake suicide scare situation. I don't really know how to explain it. However, it impacted me deeply. I have dealt with moments of suicide. I take it very seriously. So to encounter someone play with that and then gaslight me was extremely rough. I stepped away from the situation, but it still had a long-lasting impression. And that bled into, somehow I found my way watching Big Brother. I have never watched Big Brother a day in my life. And there was a young lady on there by the name of Taylor Hale who was getting extremely bullied. That took me back to my experience at an HBCU. I was watching pretty much myself be bullied by a mass number of people and getting an understanding of how a group of people can band together to hate one person and just do unfathomable things. That situation led to me being assaulted, even though it just started with the girls in my dorm. It festered into the boyfriends getting involved and people that didn't even live on the campus being involved, to eventually there being a whole court case, me being assaulted and, you know, having to transfer schools. But watching that contributed to a lot of my recent months of kind of going in a direction that I didn't need to. More recently, there was the Shanquella Robinson situation. And I'm going to say that one is leading me back to the client that I had with the suicide attempt. Yeah, it just, I don't know. I could see myself knowing that we were talking about eventually taking a girls trip, how that, I'm going to leave that there. But the Shanquella Robinson situation was definitely something that Randy, it's still, that empath in me is feeling things for her, for the situation, for the everything, and it's difficult to maneuver my way out of. Then there is another client that I had that is an organization where there was some unethical things going on, and I stayed in that environment way past the time in which I should have. And I am on the other side of that, because when you're specific to God about what it is that you want, He's going to give it to you. And I had been praying to Him to remove me from the situation. His response was, okay, but you're going to have to armor up. And I've been coping with having to be obedient to that because I don't like fighting. However, there comes that time where you have to stand up for yourself. And so I needed to prepare myself for that. Right now, I'm fighting. And I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm not okay with it, but I have accepted the fact that this is what God has called me to do for myself, first and foremost, but those before me, those that were with me, and those that are coming after me. I can no longer allow myself to be victimized and then, even though I'm out of the situation, be like, well, I'm out of it. Ultimately, I had a very in-depth conversation with one of my little sisters, and we were trauma bonding over workplace bullying, harassment, and intimidation. And that did not sit well with my soul. I feel like I was more angry and upset about her experience than mine. However, it was still a wake-up call. All of these little minutia things that are happening to me right now in this moment are things that need to happen to propel me forward in my fight. I think sometimes people have this notion that, oh, you're doing things because you're angry. Sometimes it requires certain people to be angry to actually act. Me being angry for my sister has motivated me to stand up more for myself, because how can I give her advice? How can I stand with her and I'm not standing for myself? How can I support her and I'm not supporting myself? It's giving imposter, and I'm not going to allow myself to be an imposter and shortchange myself for fighting for me. I am beyond annoyed that I'm trauma bonding about experiences that I should not have ever experienced, that my little sister should never experience, that no one should ever experience. Sometimes God calls you to do things and it is not your duty to explain to other people why you're doing it. You just do it because your obedience is to Him. You're not required to answer to anybody else in terms of what God has called you to do. I am going to be obedient. As much as I try to run from and ignore hearing His voice, I can't. There's no righteous way for me to pretend like I don't know what He has told me I need to do. The only thing I need to do is make sure I keep my center core at ease, because there's no point in me not having faith that I am going to be victorious, because this is not something self-induced. I'm not out here fighting a good fight because of anything other than standing up for myself, standing up for what is right, and advocating on behalf of humanity. Simply put, I am going on a particular journey, and I'm indifferent about it, but I'm going to share it. Why not? I think it was Oprah who said everyone has a story to tell. So I'm going to tell my story.